sexual fulfillment has to be unlocked. You know what I'm saying? Like when we're talking and we're sharing these secrets, we're sharing these intimate things about ourselves, it allows us to be in a space to where we're fully known.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? So before we get to the idea of like being fully known, like the first thing we have to understand, are we even talking about it? Like a lot of times couples don't talk about sex. A lot of times couples don't have sex and they don't talk about the fact that they're not having sex.
We still do. We still do. We still do. We still do after all this time at the altar. I alter my mind and vow to God I love you till he make his return. The rain should be the least of your concern. Under God's umbrella, I promise to provide and preserve his word and to serve your mind and spirit. Let me drive the boat. I promise I'ma steer it. The devil cannot get near it. You'll know this soon as you hear it. You need me, I need you. Even after the altar, we still do.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of We Still Do. We're your host. I'm Jermaine.
I'm Sherilyn.
Whether you're decades in, newlyweds, We Still Do is for you.
Yes, it is. And if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss an episode. We don't want to date you. We are committed to bringing you valuable content, and we want you to be committed as well. So make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss the content that we're bringing to you weekly every Thursday.
Yeah, I don't want to date you either way. I only got one date.
Forever
I don't know why
plus
she's
one.
talking like that. It sounds
You know
weird.
what I mean.
Especially
like,
with
don't
what we're going to talk
tiptoe.
about today.
Jump in.
Especially with what we're going to talk about today. I don't know if you should be saying that.
Okay, my bad.
Anyways, how you doing?
I'm a bit under the weather, as you guys could probably hear. And I've never been so sickly in my life. This is the fourth time in
Question.
2 months.
Logically, aren't you always under the weather, though? Think about it.
Okay.
You're never on top of a rainstorm. Never on top of the sun.
I'm done with you.
You're always under the weather, literally.
Okay, under.
So.
I'm not feeling good.
Okay, there we go. I like that better.
I'm not feeling good, yeah. Our daughter had like a cough or something, and then I don't know how, but now I'm sick. So, fourth time
Sick
in
or
2 months.
allergies?
I don't know. I don't think it's allergies, honey. This is the fourth time in 2 months, and so your girl just out here trying to fight the good fight, not grow weary. I'm just trying to fight the good fight. I know some of it is spiritual warfare, and some of it is just running myself ragged. So, pray for me.
Yeah, definitely allergies and weather stuff, and yeah.
All of the above. How you doing, lover?
I'm good. I'm doing great, actually.
Mr. Never Get Sick.
I know.
I don't know how your immune system is so well, but everyone in the house can be sick and you be fine.
I know.
Oh, this is gonna bug me.
It feels good to be me.
Oh, I love that for you.
So, what are we talking about today?
Communication.
What else are we talking about today?
We are talking about communication and how it unlocks the door to pleasure when it comes to sex and intimacy, or intimacy and sex, or both. They're interchangeable.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about sex.
Okay. Yes, your favorite subject.
Just wanted to make sure.
Your favorite subject.
Because you're saying intimacy. Intimacy has a lot of different meanings nowadays. You can refer it to sex. You can say emotional. Like you can put something in front of it. Like you can say.
I think most of them though still ties to physical intimacy in the bedroom.
They don't tie to it, but they can also not tie to it. Like you talk about emotional intimacy, physical intimacy.
But those are needed.
Spiritual intimacy.
That's all needed.
But you can also talk about them separately. So what I'm just
trying
to say is...
Yes, you can, but they are all a component of physical intimacy. Yay or nay?
They are a component, but we're talking about sex.
We're talking about sex, guys, as you can hear.
Very
clear. And concise. And
because we are clear, that clearly communicating is our jam. So,
absolutely, we're talking about sex.
Yep.
Go ahead, jump on in.
How is it saying that? You're talking about sex.
It doesn't bother me.
You sure?
At this big age, sex.
What's your big age?
I'm a young tenderoni. You never ask a woman her age. Have you not learned?
Girl, you my wife.
I know.
What do
I'm
you mean?
36, y'all. I'm proud to be 36.
Be proud.
Because people
'Cause I
don't
am.
believe it. They be like, what? You look like you in your 20s. Thank you.
You're right.
Yeah,
And
no, but I'm
you-
36. I'm pushing up the hill. Like,
right.
I'm like 40. You might as well say I'm 40.
And you robbed the cradle?
Okay, we're not going to start there. I did not rob the cradle.
And I'm rocking the cradle. Can I get some? Give me some. All right. Amen,
That's
y'all.
still gross when you say it like that.
It's all right.
Anyways.
Anyway, so yes.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. So, man, we really just wanted to come on here and have a conversation about
Yes.
something that a lot of people avoid talking about.
Mm.
And we know that this might be an uncomfortable conversation for some of you, and that's okay. It's supposed to be uncomfortable because we want you to have the healthiest marriage possible. And part of marriage is sex. If you're not talking about sex, it's going to be very hard to have a great sex life.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, one of the things that we know is that we're all flawed people. And if two flawed people are having sex, that means there's room to miss the mark in our connection. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about today. We want to help you just have a better, healthier, not only have a healthier sex life, but have a healthier view of what sex looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that, and this is the reason why we want to talk about it. Not only is sexual dissatisfaction one of the reasons why couples step out on their spouses, but it's also one of the things that keep us feeling like we may have chosen the wrong person, regardless if we feel that they don't understand our point. We're not allowed or able to share certain things that we have as far as like desires, needs, or even things that we're uncomfortable to talk about, whether it's performance. Having those conversations are necessary for you to grow, because we believe that as you age, as your marriage grows older, your marriage should get better. Your sex should get better. And so that's what we're here to talk about today. And so we're going to take you to one scripture, and this is going to be our scripture that is going to ground us for the next couple episodes. So we're going to spend a couple episodes talking about this. And so it comes from 1 Corinthians 7, verse 3. And this is Paul addressing the church in Corinth about the principles of marriage. And so it reads like this, and I'm reading out the ESV. It says, the husband should give his wife her conjugal rights, and likewise the wife to her husband. So what that means is, as a married couple, your conjugal rights, your sexual rights are supposed to be given over to your spouse to meet their need. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes in sex, we aren't meeting each other's needs. And there's a few reasons for that. But the first one we want to start with is, because we're saying all this to help you understand what can help you restore and maintain a healthy sex life. The first thing that we want to talk about is communication. We were reading this book called Restoring the Pleasure. And it's by I think it's Clifford and Joyce Penner. One of them has a PhD. The other one is I believe maybe a registered nurse. I'm not sure. But they wrote this book, Christian couple, or Christian authors. They wrote this book to help marriages have healthy sex lives. And one of the things they talked about is how communication is the key that unlocks the door. So it's not the door, because sexual fulfillment is on the inside of the door, but it's the key that unlocks the door. And what they meant by that is if you want sexual intimacy in your relationship, you have to be able to talk about it. And there are certain things to talk about. So, honey, I want to kick it over to you because I know one thing that is key for us is communication in general.
Mm-hmm.
But even just this idea of communication being the key that unlocks the door to sexual satisfaction, like when you hear that, like what comes to mind for you?
I think it's impossible to have like fulfilling sexual intimacy if there is no verbal and emotional connection that happens outside the bedroom. And I mean, I've said this before, like sex isn't something that just happens in the bedroom. It happens in the kitchen, it happens in the living room, right? It's the things that lead up to that.
No pun intended.
Okay. Yes, sex can happen all those places. But you know what I mean? It happens outside of the bedroom. So I can
Right.
definitely agree with that. Like communication is what unlocks that because one, I feel like good sex is sex that's talked about. If you ain't talking about it, did you like that? How'd that feel? What do you like? Especially think about how God designed it to be one man, one woman for the rest of your life. So
Yeah.
we're evolving, we're growing. We have to talk through some things, some changes in our bodies, some changes in the ups and downs of our sexual desires and the things that we like that may not work anymore. So I feel like for sure I can see communication being that key because without it, it would be hard. You would just, like you said, be missing each other. There's miscommunication or there's assumptions that's happening
Yeah.
and needs not being fulfilled or met.
Yeah. And I also just think about like sexual fulfillment has to be unlocked.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when we're talking and we're sharing these secrets, we're sharing these intimate things about ourselves, it allows us to be in a space to where we're fully known.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? So before we get to the idea of like being fully known, like the first thing we have to understand, are we even talking about it? Like a lot of times couples don't talk about sex. A lot of times couples don't have sex and they don't talk about the fact that they're not having sex. And when it comes to like the reasons we might not talk about it, they're very understandable. Like it makes a lot of sense. Think about it. When Adam and Eve were in the garden, fully naked, fully exposed, like once they partook of the fruit, right? Now they're aware that they're fully naked, fully exposed. Now there's a perspective about our nakedness that we need to hide. And we don't want to be this vulnerable. We don't want to show this vulnerability with each other. And so even today, you see how couples keep themselves clothed. Like they put on loincloths, or not loincloths, fig leaves. They put on these fig leaves, and what they're doing is they're keeping themselves from being known. Like whether it's something that's embarrassing to talk about, whether it's something that's too vulnerable to talk about, it keeps your spouse from knowing a part of you that is needed for you to feel
No.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like without sharing that, yeah, you're guarding yourself, but you're also guarding your spouse from knowing you. And I think you're also keeping yourself from being able to experience another level of sexual satisfaction because we can sex is going to be the one thing that just is almost like incomparable to any other feeling. There's this feeling about it that when it happens, it connects you in a way that it's hard to detach. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like one of the main ways we experience this idea or concept called soul ties. You know what I'm saying? Like when they get intertwined sexually, like it's hard to unravel that. And even in the passage, 1 Corinthians, that we just read, 1 Corinthians 7, like part of satisfying like your partner's sexual need is also keeping out sexual adultery. You know what I'm saying? It guards from the person stepping outside of the relationship. And there was this understanding that this is an important aspect of human living. And so like involving ourselves in that was also a way of alleviating, some of that pressure to do, things that were immoral.
I want to share because you read from 7:3, right?
Mm-hmm.
But under that it says, for the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. Likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except perhaps by agreement for a limited time, that you may devote yourselves to prayer, but then come together again, so that Satan may not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. And it made me think of that because you were saying that if there is no sexual intimacy happening within the marriage, then there is this temptation to step outside the marriage oftentimes. And in the Bible, it does say like our body belongs to one another, right? But it also says don't deprive each other of sex. So that goes for us ladies. If you got a headache and you ain't feeling good or you exhausted or whatever, it's don't deprive one another of this sexual fulfillment because Satan can get a hold of you and tempt you because you don't have the self-control you need. And so unless it's devoted to prayer, which those things that I mentioned are none of that, right? Then we should not be depriving one another. And I do believe a fulfilling sex life is a way to affair-proof your marriage. I truly believe that it's a way to affair-proof your marriage because if you're fulfilled sexually, being that intimacy and sex or the lack thereof is one of the reasons that we hear about couples divorcing. So I believe that is a way that you can affair-proof your marriage. But to this idea of communication and the need for it, and are we talking about it? When you think about it, when you come together, you mentioned the soul ties. You can experience soul ties outside of intimacy, but when you do come together sexually with someone, you are now connected spiritually, emotionally, mentally, right? You're connecting with this person on so many other levels than just the physical aspect. Now, let's bring that to communication, where there's verbal intimacy, where there's emotional intimacy with safety and vulnerability with one another, where there's physical intimacy, obviously the act of sex, or even just physical affection outside of the bedroom. Now bring that together, and I feel like your intimacy could be explosive because you're connecting on such a deeper level, even with communication and verbally and having deep conversations or being vulnerable. You shared about Adam and Eve and how they covered themselves with fig leaves, but that was because there was this shame. Now they had to hide themselves. And so I do believe that past traumas is a part of that. If you've experienced any like sexual abuse, I think embarrassment, performance issues, whatever that can look like, your own insecurities, women with our body image and comparing yourself, all of that can be a factor to why we are putting on fig leaves and trying to hide ourselves from our spouse, from allowing ourselves to be fully known. And in not allowing ourselves to be fully known, we are withholding not just from our spouse, but also ourselves from enjoying the fulfillment of the way God originally designed it, because sex was God's design and the enemy has tried to obviously come in. He's always going to have the counterfeit of pornography and all these other things, but it's really this beautiful act of the two coming together as one and one flesh in that moment. And we call it worship unto the Lord. Like this act of coming together in intimacy is actually pleasing to the Lord. And there's this freedom. He says in the word, the marriage bed is undefiled. And so it's this beautiful thing, this beautiful act. It's just so amazing how God gave us this. I can get emotional just thinking about it, like, oh, you literally wanted us, like, we get to enjoy this, because I've experienced sex outside of marriage. And it doesn't even, I wasn't a virgin. I tried my best, but I definitely messed up for sure. And it was before I got serious, obviously, with the Lord. But in marriage, there is a freedom that I have not ever experienced, outside of it. So it's this beautiful thing that I believe that the enemy has tried to come and damper with. But if you think of the soul ties, and when you're bringing all of that into the bedroom, verbal intimacy, physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, I just feel like, oh, this explosive, passionate, like, yeah, I love making. I'm getting hot.
It's a part of that. It's a part of that. Like, sexual fulfillment is also a part of that oneness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
in the Bible, did you know that they weren't considered married, and that was the first thing, the first act of them becoming one?
Yeah.
It was sex.
Yeah.
Like, that considered them to be married.
Yeah. And then they would, look at the sheet to see if it was bloody, and if it was bloody.
And it happened at nighttime, so it was dark.
When she got her cherry pop, you know what I'm saying? Like, then it was like, okay, we're on the same accord. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you were actually a virgin.
Yeah, that thing's fresh.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
let's talk about it. Anyways.
Yeah. So even with that, like, even the performance aspect, just speaking as a man, like, that can bring a lot of shame, because it's a way that men, it's one of the ways men identify themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I a good sexual partner? Can I fulfill my partner's sexual needs? Like, can I make her climax? All the things. And if I can't, if I sense some frustration, some judgment, some disgust on my partner's face because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, there can be a lot of shame attached to that.
Yeah.
Like, there can be a lot of shame attached to the fact that I'm not performing how I'm supposed to perform sexually for my partner. And it's also important how the spouse responds in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, when there is shame needs to be exposed. Shame needs light. Shame needs to be talked about. You know what I'm saying? Because if you allow shame to hide, shame generates its power from not being seen.
That's good.
And the more you hide, the stronger shame gets. The stronger shame gets, the more it plays with your self-confidence. The more it plays with your self-esteem. Like, as the spouse, like, so from a male talking to a woman, like my spouse, for example, let's say I'm talking to you, like, it's important that when I come to you, talking to you about, maybe a performance issue, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't climax, but I bust quick, or I was the first to bust, whatever. Like, it's important that if I do come to you, or if you come to me, like, I can't see you judging me. I can't see you criticizing or mocking or even clowning me. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, people can be cruel. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really want to affect the self-esteem of a guy, let's say this. If you really want to affect the self-esteem of your husband, talk about his sex life in a negative way. You know what I'm saying? To him, like, trash. Suck.
Horrible.
Minute Man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Who made that song? Was that Beyonce? No, who had a song?
Wasn't it Missy?
Something about, like, I don't want no Minute Man.
I don't want no Minute Man. I think it was Missy Elliott.
Okay, Missy Elliott.
You too young, clearly.
Whatever. The point is, that song, I think, made being a Minute Man more shameful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's hard to overcome that type of shame for men, is all I'm getting to. So we got to be mindful with how we talk about that, because that is vulnerable territory.
So one thing that comes to mind is when Adam and Eve was in the garden, and Eve was Adam and Eve, and when they tried to cover themselves with the fig leaves and they realized that they were naked, God told them, "Who told you that you were naked?" And it wasn't the shame that he brought on them. I believe that he was exposing the darkness. And so you sharing that of, like, shame and how it has to hide, and then it intensifies and it's hiding, and you get self-conscious and lack of confidence. If shame is hidden and in this darkness, then only exposing light on it will help to bring it out of shame. And I think that's in bringing it to have a conversation and talking about it, right? And exposing the lie, because that's what God said. Who told you? Like, who told you was naked? You know, they have clearly been deceived. And for something that naturally was created the way that God had designed it to be. And so I think about that, of like the need to expose the areas of shame, and even like, okay, look, I know I didn't do my best. You know what I mean? I was tired. I'm sorry you didn't get yours, or whatever it is in this vulnerability when it comes to sex, of being able to talk about that and bringing that thing to the light. I believe that it helps to prevent the fact that men want to hide. And you were saying that performance, that men look at it, this is their performance. And if you want to ever make a man feel small, then to obviously belittle him in his performance when it comes to sexually. But I'm curious to why men view it as that, or even you, because you're mentioning the performance, versus the way that I see sex is this discovery and this explorative act that we get to do with one another and learning each other over and over and over again, you know? So it's this act of discovery, because when you think of any type of performance, there's nerves, there's anxiety, right, that comes with it, versus this is a safe space for us to be able to explore our bodies. You know what I mean? So why do men look at it like it's all on you, the pressure's on you to perform, when it takes two of us to tangle?
It do. And I can't speak for every guy.
Right.
But just in my experience and some of the men that I've talked with, when it comes to, so I don't know if you knew or not, but you're not alone. I had sex before marriage too.
Oh, really?
I did.
It's under the blood.
It is.
We have definitely repented.
But either way, like, when you think about just how vulnerable of a space that is, you know what I'm saying? Like, and when you think about how performing well as a man sexually makes you feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, I did it. Like, it's just a big part of a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's because men, most of the time, like when you think of culturally and like being young, like high school days, men, it was like you got a pat on the back. Like there was bragging rights that came with your sexual performance or even your sexual body count. So I wonder if that's this pressure that's felt.
Part of it.
Because if somebody was to dog you out and it got around, like that would be really shameful and embarrassing.
Very shameful and embarrassing. But I think it's part of it. Because even if you take the social rejection part of it, meaning like all your friends that you want to get a pat on the back from, you take away all that. You take away everything except for the actual couple, and you have that person look at you in disgust, like, dang, like I wanted the climax, but you can't get me there.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't got nothing to do with them. It has more to do with like, dang, like this is the one area where like I'm low key kind of mostly in control. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't perform. Like, it's honestly, it's hard to really say.
Maybe it's I can't please you in the way you desire.
I mean, yeah, that's a nicer way of saying it. You know what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, like I think the reality is it's just a big part of our identity. Now, it's not like our complete identity, especially as husbands who are married. Like, it's something that we like pride ourselves on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something I pride myself on. You know what I'm saying? Like, to make sure we have a healthy sex life, and we're talking about
pride
it.
Comes before destruction.
I almost had a destruction joke.
No, please don't. Keep going.
You're right. Pride did go before destruction. Did I destroy it? Or did I not?
Okay. I knew this was gonna end bad. Oh my gosh. Keep going.
Your fault. But no, I just think that when it comes to, I just think there's just such a thing about like us being able to perform that's just a big part of us. You know what I'm saying? Whether
It's
you
really sad when you think about it. I'm like, ooh, it seems like just so much pressure on you guys as men. You know what I mean?
it is
I'm like,
pressure,
ooh.
but the thing is, and that's the point I was getting at, the pressure is not simply because of us. If we didn't perform well as husbands, and if let's just say certain men didn't perform well and their spouse approached them with like, I mean, it's cool, like not making it a big deal,
Mhm.
like it's just a part of it. There's
Yeah.
going to be times where you bust quick, times where you don't.
Mhm.
Then we can look forward to the next time versus like the husband saying like, dang, like the next time I have to.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it take two to tango, and
Right.
that's what that is as well.
Okay. That makes sense. I don't like that performance word. I don't know. It's just something about it. Like, you know, when you think of like performance, it's almost like acting or like putting on, or it's just on me to do this. Like, I got to make this happen, you know? So it was just that word. I'm like, why? It's a discovery, it's exploring. And so, but I
Right.
understand as men, there's a different weight that comes with it. And I don't know where exactly it stems from.
That discovery is a part of your marital experience.
Right.
When you I would say probably when you are in a unhealthy marriage or unhealthy sexual marriage, it does become performance. You know what I'm saying? Especially if like you want to continue to have sex and you have a spouse who might not, um, you know, who might not be the most gentle, you know what I'm saying, with their words or whatever. Like it does, because it's like, okay, if I perform well, then I won't get all the criticism.
Then I'll get a round of applause.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Like
an encore.
Or it's just I might be accepted. You know what I'm saying? And now we can do it again and be okay, instead of just being criticized or like, oh my gosh, here we are again. You know what I'm saying? Because
It's almost like a sense of rejection then.
Yeah, it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a major way of rejection for men.
Okay. So what's the second one? The second one is to tell secrets.
Yeah.
In terms of this communication unlocking the door to a fulfilling sexual intimacy.
Yeah, and that's where we talked about like this idea of being like fully known. And so like what the authors were saying is like you can, in order to connect on a deep level, you have to be fully known. Like this fully known also means being able to share like past traumas, being able to share things that bring up this shame that we've been talking about.
Past sexual experiences.
Yeah, past sexual experiences. And like when you're fully known by somebody, there's a sense of safety that you feel. And when you feel safe, you don't have performance anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Like when you feel judged, when you feel criticized, there's the anxiety that comes along with that. But when you feel safe, when you feel like the person has heard the darkest things about you, or the things that, you know, brought the most shame for you, or even let's just say something is talking about like an unmet need. You know what I'm saying? Being able to share like that thing you do, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Being able to share that and it be received in a way that's like, okay, like, dang, like she ain't getting defensive or he ain't getting defensive. That's freeing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that liberates you to be able to share and be seen, you know what I'm saying, to have a satisfying life. And just think about it. We are people as humans, we change like naturally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We grow in different seasons. We like certain things. In different seasons, our bodies are a certain way when it comes to desires. And something that you did to satisfy me 3 years ago might not satisfy me in 5 years.
Absolutely.
So how do we have that conversation and say this ain't working for me no more? You know what I'm saying? Like, and we need to change it. Like, we need to do something different, you know what I'm saying, to continue to grow in our sexual closeness.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel like almost if you had, which we talked about communication styles on a different episode, but if you had more of a passive communication style, it would be hard to bring up this subject of sex. But if you were more assertive, then you wouldn't have, it wouldn't be as big of a deal for you to express like, hey, you know how you did that thing? I don't like that. Or, oh, I do like that. Let's try that again. Or what do you think about trying something new? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To make it more exciting. And so I feel like if you were more assertive, that would be something that is a little bit easier. But in sharing secrets, I feel like it's amazing, you know, in terms of sexual intimacy, but to be fully known, to be seen and accepted and loved for who you are, like that's top tier.
Yeah.
So if I can experience this freedom of being safe, known, I could trust you with my secrets, with my past, with what embarrasses me, with my insecurities, if I can trust you with that, and then we can get deep into the bedroom, I feel like, yeah, I could see that that is a needed element of communication and being able to be vulnerable and naked with your spouse when it comes to sexual intimacy.
Yeah. And a part of being able to be known is knowing yourself sexually. Like, what do you think? What do you believe? How do you feel about sex? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are your beliefs behind it? You know what I'm saying? What do you believe about sex? Like, what is permitted for you? What's not okay? Like, it's hard to be fully known when you don't know yourself. And a lot of times we don't explore that. A lot of times we don't explore what we like. You know what I'm saying? We can simply know in the moment, like, okay, this is what I feel, or even outside of the act. You know what I'm saying? Like, foreplay. Do we like foreplay? Like, how do I feel about foreplay? What type of foreplay? Like, are we cool with toys? Are we cool with whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are your beliefs about it? And then once we know our beliefs, now we can share those.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like, I remember having a conversation with a couple, and I remember the husband, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was terrified to share that he was dissatisfied. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the dissatisfaction had little to do with performance. It had more to do with, like, bro, I'm just tired. And when I come home, I don't get a time to regroup, reset. It's like, as soon as I come home, I'm, you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's no, he didn't feel seen. I'll say it that way. Like, he didn't feel seen. And so because he didn't feel like his need was being provided for, he didn't want to. And so because that's his wife, he's going to do it. But it's like, it didn't feel, he didn't get the whole self, like the emotional him, the mentally present him.
Yeah.
Like, it was just the arousal him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was present.
That's really hard because I hear what you're saying, and you're saying it from a male perspective, which is something that I often hear from a female perspective of like, okay, he just wants my body, you know, and that's all that he cares about. And he just wants me even if I'm not mentally present, because for women, we have to mentally be present in the moment, you know, to be able to engage in the physical act of sex. So to hear you say that's different for me to hear from a male perspective of like, okay, well, I'm going to just get aroused and do what I got to do, but I'm not physically or mentally here or emotionally connecting in the moment. Because for women, I think we can feel that. We can feel when there's this disconnection emotionally from the physical act that's occurring. And so to hear that a man also, one could not want it, because there's this, I feel like it's this misconception that like men want sex more than women, you know? And I do agree.
Depends on the season.
It depends on the season. I do agree. Like, I know it's a need for most men, but there's different seasons, and there's times where my sex drive is higher than yours and vice versa. You know what I mean? And so I love that. I feel like just in having this conversation that's already tearing down that misconception of what that could look like.
Yeah. And that goes into what do you believe about sex? You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on what you believe, depends on how, or it dictates how you show up.
Yeah.
So if you believe that men are supposed to have higher sex drives, then if your sex drive is higher than your spouse, then there could be the feeling like, oh, he doesn't desire me anymore.
Take it personally.
Oh, there's somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And when you go in with those, and that's why you have to talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it, all of that stuff leads to miscommunication, and it leads to those assumptions that really are harmful to your relationship. And even like I think we titled this section like, you know, what you don't talk about can hurt you. Especially when it comes to this, you know, this type of this significant part of your relationship. If you don't talk about it, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, as we talked about on previous podcasts, just like going with the flow, going, you know, flowing downstream. You know what I'm saying? Like with what society is saying, like if something's wrong, replace it. There's always something better. The grass is greener. You know what I'm saying? Like versus going upstream, like if something's broke, you can fix it. It can get better. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what, you know, we want them to do. And so being able to share, you know, secrets and past hurts and effectively communicate also involves knowing what you believe and what you think about sex, marriage.
And your ability to share yourself with your partner, to be able to share all those things, even insecurities, inadequacies that you're feeling in the moment, hurts, traumas, wounds, whatever. And I'm not just talking around sex. I'm talking about in general with the being vulnerable. But I remember postpartum, it was really hard for me after our first baby when we had our son, because I've been little all my life. I couldn't gain weight to save my life. And this was the first time I'm seeing my new body stretched out in a different light. And even though you didn't do anything.
Which is fire, by the way.
Thank you, love. Which you didn't make me feel this way, but it was my own. I developed this insecurity about my body that I hadn't experienced before, with like, who am I in this new body, you know? And it was really hard for me to adjust. And postpartum depression, and there were several things, but I remember like wanting to keep a shirt on or wanting to keep the lights off or not wanting you to touch me in certain places. And it was really hard for me. But then I began to get vulnerable in sharing this insecurity with you. And you're like, I love it. Then you would kiss on me in certain places that I was insecure about or whatever. But it really helped for me to be able to share vulnerability, you know, to be able to share with you my own insecurities that I was feeling, or even inadequacies, you know, because when we entered into marriage earlier on, I remember it was like this thing that I had of like, oh, he's so much more experienced than I am. Like, am I going to be able to satisfy him? Am I going to be able to fulfill him? Even with sharing that with you of the fear that I had, it began to start this beautiful journey of us just being able to explore, okay, so tell me what you like and how can I please you? Because I always want to be a student of you and learning you. And that, yes, that includes sexually, but even outside of that. And so I think just having the conversation of like, okay, where you at? Like, how fulfilled are you sexually? Are you satisfied? You know, is there something more that you desire from me, or something you desire?
Let me learn you something.
Yeah, you want to try something new in the bedroom? Like, what you think about this? Or get a book that gives you some positions to try. Let's try this tonight. Or let me alleviate some of that performance pressure you may be feeling, and let me initiate, because it's not just on you. Like, let me make you feel desired as well in this marriage, because it did say that my body belongs to you, your body belongs to me, right? And so it's like, okay, with that, I also want to take, this is going to sound kind of not controlling, but like ownership of like, this is mine. Like, I want you and want you to feel that and to feel that desire.
And I think another way to see that is like, if your body is mine, then I need to care for it in a way that I make it mine.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like in Ephesians 5.
Ephesians,
yeah, and it says, husbands, love your wives as you love yourself.
You
know what I'm saying? Like, the way you love yourself is how you love your wife. So if your wife, like if her body is yours, you should love it in a way that reflects how you would love your body. Like you wouldn't damage your body, you wouldn't do harm to your body. You would make sure that you're caring for it in a way that sustains you. You know what I'm saying? Caring for it in a way that it will be satisfied. Like you'll feed your body. You know what I'm saying? You'll be gentle with your body. Like, so it's like this idea of like, okay, I will care for it because it's mine. It doesn't mean like, oh, I'm possessive of it. Like I
Right.
control it. It
Yeah.
means that like, no, this is mine, and what's mine, I'm going to care for it and make sure that it's well taken care of it.
That's what I meant. That's what I was saying right there.
Yeah. That's exactly what you said.
Okay, so like tips for couples, they could even ask like, just start out like gentle, just get your feet wet a little bit, you know, in terms of couples, in terms of questions they can ask. So what message did you receive about sex growing up?
Mm-hmm.
How can I make you feel more emotionally connected when we are intimate? Like, I think that is good of just understanding the backdrop of the way that you perceive sex in itself and all that comes with it. Because I know I hear this a lot with Christian marriages, and it's like, we're taught like, okay, don't have sex till you get married. Don't have sex till you get married. And then you get married and nobody's telling you what to do or how to do it or what that looks like. You know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, you on your own, figure it out, you know? And so I hear this from women, feel so unprepared coming into marriage, and it's like, okay, I just knew that it was this thing that you weren't supposed to do. And it even gives them this negative view of sex when they do it because it was something they were always taught, like, don't have sex till you're married, you know, or till you're married. And so I think even in questions like that, just what did you learn about sex? What did you think about sex or growing up? How did you perceive it?
No, that's important. And we'll get into that more in the next episode. But when you talk about like the message that they receive basically is sex is bad.
Yep. Sex is bad. Yep.
And it's not that sex is bad. It's just that sex out of its proper context is bad. And it's a sin against your own body because you're giving something to somebody that is not going to be, that you're not committed to. There's something about what we're doing that feels off. And it's only once inside of marriage that sex feels like it's completing, especially when you're doing it in God's way. And so when you talk about like, there's this emphasis on don't have sex, and the intention is understandable. It's like, this is the one thing that the body naturally desires, that once it's aroused, it's like, it's hard to run from.
Yep. That's good.
But the same message, what you're saying is, and I love that you said that, once you get in marriage, you still have this off view of marriage. And there,
intimacy, sex, yeah.
Yeah, like, and there is this perspective that we have, especially if it's not talked about, that we will miss each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why we need to talk about sex, because we come into sex with these certain beliefs, certain ideas about it, you know what I'm saying, about what it looks like. And I think that is one of the reasons why, you know, sex is, you know, it kind of goes down. A lot of, man, I've talked to couples, they only had sex once a month. They had sex once every 2 months. There was one couple that I talked to, they had sex once in the last year. I'm not talking about from today back to January. I'm talking about from today to this time last year. And it's like this is something that needs to be talked about. Like the same with women, how women feel this pressure and just like, oh, I just, you know, like this stress that just comes from, that needs to be released because they're not having sex. They have all this sexual tension. It's the same for men as well.
Sexual frustration.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and all of this stuff is pent up, and especially in marriage, meant to be released. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to not be able to do that, not saying like it's going to throw off your balance, like your hormone balance and all that.
Of course not.
You know what I'm saying? But it's something that's just meant to be a part of a healthy marriage.
Yeah. And being that I have the ability to serve your body in that way I think it's amazing, because I have this way of fulfilling something, this desire that you have to release. And it's like, I get to let you go to bed satisfied at the end of the day. And so that's very heartbreaking to hear that someone could withhold whatever that situation. Everybody's situation look different. I'm sure there's a lot that ties into that, but to withhold or withstand that long from sexual intimacy is like, wow. You know, I could see how the enemy would get up in there and just run amok, basically, in the woman's mind, in the man's mind of, okay, well, if it's not coming from me, then what's happening here? Or the woman not feeling desired, or vice versa. So that's, I could see that. But the last part of this is to be able to hear each other out. Mm-hmm. And I think while we're communicating, we need to be active at listening. So whatever it is that we're talking about, we need to obviously repeat back. And we've talked about this in just communicating in general, but I love how they kind of like overlap when it comes to the fulfillment sexually and communicating, but to be able to repeat back, to be able to stay present in the conversation and in the moment, especially when you're talking about something. I think sex is a sensitive topic. I realize that it's almost like a taboo topic, because we literally did a podcast before. We asked our audience, like, hey, if you could ask a sexologist anything, what would you ask? And it was crickets. And the amount of people that tuned into the episode was many, but nobody wanted to say anything. So it's like, it was going to be anonymous. We weren't going to put you on the spot, but it's this thing that we don't want to talk about, you know? So in talking about it with your spouse, I think it's important to make sure you're understanding, because you now have the opportunity to make them feel fully known, as you were saying, and seen and heard. And so if you're sharing something with me and I'm like, okay, so what I hear you saying is, okay, you feel this way. Okay, then you're just gonna be like, yeah, you understand me. Like, you get me. And now you feel heard, you feel seen, you feel understood. And so that leads to better intimacy.
Yeah. And so that's why with the Marriage in Motion Challenge, one of the things that we want to encourage you all to do is talk about it. Like, that's what the Marriage in Motion Challenge is.
Say it to heal it.
And so this is what we want you to do. We want you to set aside about 20, 30 minutes to have a conversation. And this is what we want you to answer. What do I wish you knew about me sexually that I have been afraid to say? This is an opportunity for both of you to be fully known. A step in that direction of sharing yourself in a way that you and your partner can grow intimately. Because at the end of the day, it's a part of a healthy marriage. Having conversations about it helps unlock the door to having sexual freedom, having sexual pleasure, and really creating this lasting love for your marriage to grow in. And so that's all we got for you. We just want you to talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about your secrets, talk about your struggles, talk about the things you enjoy. Because at the end of the day, whether you've been married for decades or you're newlyweds, you need healthy sexual life.
Yes, and we do believe that you can thrive after the altar. When you say I do, that's just the beginning. We don't peak when it comes to even sexual fulfillment, no matter how long you have been married. And so we truly believe that, and we just wanted to share these tools with you in hopes that it could lead you to having conversations, if nothing more, into deeper connection with one another. Yeah. So thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and share this with someone else. I know it's a taboo topic, but don't make it taboo. Share it. We need to be talking about sex, because talk about sex is great sex. Until next time.
Peace.
Gonna love you and always. No doubt you're my blessing. Ain't no second guessing. No one can separate.